Hi guys, welcome to Small Farmer Life. Hope you're all having an awesome day. Today guys, we're going to talk about access rights. And I'll tell you why we're going to talk about access rights. I got an email the other night, and I get lots of emails and lots of DMs, and I don't answer them all, trust me, otherwise that's all I'll be doing with my time. I'm not a free planner consultant or a solicitor that just gives out information that has took me years to accumulate. But if I think there's a video there, I'll make a video about it. And this is about access rights. Now, what's happened is this lady has owned a woodland. She's been using an access track to get that woodland. Somebody's come in, bought the land or the property that owns the access track. They've put up a gate. They've welded the gate shut. They've put a padlock on there. That defeats the object, obviously. And then they put a big boulder in front of it. Again, do one or the other. Don't do them all. To stop this lady accessing the woodland that she's enjoyed for many years, as she says, a lot longer than they've been there. Now, there's several ways you can have a right of access to a piece of land, piece of woodland that you own here in the UK. But before we get into that, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video at the end of the video, hit the like button. If you want to be notified of upcoming videos, hit the bell button. So, the first one, and probably the most important one, is an easement, and that will be in your actual title deeds, which will state something like this. You have a right of way for you on foot, bike, horse, whatever it might be, and vehicle 12 foot wide at all times for you and your successors in title, which basically means that if you sell the land to anybody else, then they get the access as well. Or you could split your land up, and you could also grant those people a right of access because they're successors in title also. Now, that is the best way to have access, is just get it in the title deed. So if you're looking to buy some land out there, then make sure the person who's going to grant you a right of access over a track actually has the right to grant you that access over that access track, or owns that access track. And get it in the contract and get it in the title deeds. And if you've done that, then there's absolutely no way it can be taken away from you unless there's conditions put on that access, and maybe you're abusing those conditions. But they can't take it away from you. Now, that is the best way to go about it if you're looking to buy some land. But let's say you've already bought some land and you're using an access track, and somebody has bought a piece of land but they own the access itself, and they're stopping you from using that access track. Well, if you or the person who sold you that land has used that access track, this is called prescriptive or prescribed access, for 20 years or more, then you could have that put on your title deeds, as long as it hasn't been like uninterrupted, or you've done it sneakily and that sort of thing. As long as you've just done it in open sight and not tried to sneak on your land using the access track, then it's been sort of prescribed to you, or prescriptive, whatever you want to call it. There's different words for it online, but that's basically what it is. If you've used it for 20 years or more, and literally you can prove that, and I'm sure you'll have images, photographs, all sorts of things, if you're enjoying that land and somebody tries to stop you from using that access track just because they own the access track and they don't like you using it, but they didn't care about the last owner using it, but now they don't want you to use it. As long as it was used for 20 years to access the piece of land that you've purchased, then that's what they call prescribed access. So keep that in mind, guys. It doesn't have to be on your title deeds, but it has to be like used continuously without any massive breaks, meaning like a couple of year breaks and that sort of thing. Now, people can put up a gate on an access track that you might use, and you might have it in your title deeds, and you might think, well, they're blocking my access by putting this gate up. Now, as long as they don't lock the gate and keep the keys and not give you a key, then that's not blocking your right of access. Now, stay with me, because there's another way how you can be granted a right of access, but you might not know about it. But if somebody puts a lock on that gate and doesn't give you a key, then they're blocking your right of access. And if somebody puts up, let's say, 3 gates and you have to get out each and every gate to open the gate, then close the gate, then that's demonstrably like blocking your right of access. So you can get them to take those gates down. If you ever went to court, the judge would say take those gates down, but one gate, it wouldn't matter. And if they put a big boulder in the way, then that would definitely be blocking your right of access. But there's another right of access that people might not even think about, and I'm going to explain it using this bit of land and that bit of land there. And this is what's called implied access. So if this lady who bought that woodland bought it from the person who owned the access track at one point in time, or the person before her bought the woodland off the person who owned the access track, well, it's what's called implied access. So let's say I sold this piece of land that I'm on now, and I had access to this piece of land myself, and I granted the owner, the new owner, right of access to this land. But I kept that field there, and the only way I can access that field is by coming in through the new owner of this land's right of access. Then it would be implied that the only way I can access my land that I've kept is by crossing the field that I've sold to the new owner. And that's what's called implied access. I mean, what does the new owner think? That I'm going to sell him a piece of land and not access the land that I still own that might not have an access point of its own. The only way I can access that land is by cutting across their land. So that's what's called implied access. Now this lady might have implied access because the person who sold this woodland, or sold the person who she bought the woodland off, might have owned that access track in the past, and it was implied that obviously I'm selling you that woodland, or the person who she bought the woodland off, that if you're going to buy this woodland from me, you're going to use this access track to actually get to that woodland. And if that's the case, she has every right. Now she might have to go to court for this, she might have to get a solicitor to look into this for them, but she has every right to use that access track to get to that woodland. And it might not be in the title deeds, but title deeds don't tell the full story about any piece of land. And this is why you have conveyancers solicitors, because what they do is they go back and check all the title deeds. And I did this for my land. So your title deeds might reference another set of title deeds, like C159, and you have to follow the conveyance, the covenants, the restrictions, or any way leaves in that set of title deeds, but they don't say them on your title deeds. So the person who's blocked their right of access might not even realise that he has no right, or they have no right, to block that right of access because it's not on their title deeds. But it might reference another set of title deeds that says you have to grant Mrs. A right of access to this woodland or piece of land, parcel of land, whatever it might be, a right of access for them and their successors in title, but they don't have it on their title deeds. So title deeds can reference lots of different other title deeds, which have lots of covenants on, lots of restrictions, and lots of clawbacks and lots of way leaves and all those sorts of things. But you won't know it because you haven't got it on your title deeds. And that's why solicitors go back and buy up a load of title deeds. Let's say a big farm has been broken up. They will buy all the title deeds for the land around the piece of land that you're looking at. Now they're only £3 each, but the solicitors make out as if they have to do a lot of work and they charge you a lot of money to do it. But it's not that hard to actually buy up all the title deeds, because your title deeds will reference those title deeds, and you just have to put those reference numbers in the land registry database and it'll bring up those sets of title deeds. And you can actually see what those title deeds say. So you can buy your neighbour's title deeds or a person's title deeds who own the land way back when and find out what actual rights you have to that land, if there's any covenants, is there any easements, anything like that that restrict you from doing what you want to do or access to your piece of land. Anyway guys, I do have plans for next year for the farm, because obviously I'm been breeding pure breed poultry, so I've got a 2.7 acre set here and I can do lots of things on here, lots of interesting things, and I think that's where I'm going to take the channel, because unless other things change with planning law, which I'm hoping that they're going to, but it's just taking time to get to the system, I will make more videos on that sort of stuff. But I also want to make videos on how I build things around my farm, how you can make money from your farm, simple things that can add to your farm income, because you can do a lot of things really easily if you've got a small building or two. And once you've got land, well, you can store things, you can sell things, buy and sell it, you can do a bit of woodwork, and there's lots of simple things you can do to add to your income. And the more income you make from your land and diversify your farm, then the better it's going to be for you. And going on what the government's saying, you might, or they might, make it easier for you to get the right to live on that land. But anyway guys, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, then you should subscribe. Hit the subscribe button if you want to be notified of upcoming videos. Hit the bell button. My name's Craig, you've been watching The Small Farmer Life. Thanks again to all my parents, couldn't thank you guys enough. And YouTube members, really appreciate the support. Till next time, make sure you take care of yourself. Most of all, take care of the family. Be genuine guys. Bye for now. See ya.